Hello and welcome to part 32 of this video series. In this video, we will understand about interface implementation. As part of this video, we will do a short recap of interface implementation that we have seen in last video, and we will also understand what is explicit implementation of interface. So let's open up the Visual Studio and get started. I have opened up my Visual Studio. Let's create an interface. So I have created an interface I employee. And guys, this is a very common convention to start an interface name with a capital I. If you don't give this capital I, that is also fine. Compiler will not give us any error. If I try to build it, you will see build succeeds. But again, it is common standard or best practice to provide capital I in front of interface name. So that whenever we use interface in anywhere in our code, we can easily tell this is an interface and not a class. So let's add a method signature in our interface. So I have added a member in my interface that is a method, and it will not return anything. That's why I have specified the type void, and this will take one parameter string name. So let's try to implement this interface in a class public. So currently I have created a class and I have implemented iEmployee interface. And if you notice, we are getting a compilation error that says employee does not implement interface member print name. So let's implement the method also. To implement a method, you can click on this button and select implement interface. Once you click on that, C# will automatically implement the method. So let's remove this line of code and print the employee name inside it. Okay, now the error is gone. And this all we have already seen in last video. But guys, remember, whenever we are implementing an interface, we have to follow the signature which is available in the interface. In this case, the print name method is expecting a string name parameter. That's why in our class also we have to define the print name method with string name parameter. What will happen if I try to implement a method with some different signature? Public void print name, and this time instead of taking just name, I will take string name and string last name. And if I comment out this earlier method, you will notice we will again get the compilation error. It will again say employee does not implement the interface member print name. So guys, it is important to follow the signature that is provided in the interface. If we don't provide the same signature which is available in the interface, we will get the compilation error. And again, we have to match the return type also. Suppose in this method, I have matched the parameter, like in the interface we have the string name, and in class also I have string name, but let me change the return type from void to string. If you notice, we are again getting the compilation error. Employee does not implement the print name method. And if you read the complete message, it will also say because it does not have the matching return type of void. So we have to match the return type also when we are implementing an interface method. Okay, let's remove it and uncomment this line of code. Okay, now you will notice the error message is gone and we are able to build the project successfully. So this was the recap of interface implementation. Now let's understand what is explicit implementation. Let's suppose I have two interfaces. One is I employee, and let me create public interface I person, and it has the same method as I employee. So now let's say our employee class is implementing I employee as well as I person. Now if you notice, our class is implementing two interfaces, and these two interface has two methods: print name at line number 20 and print name at line number 25. But in our class we are only implementing one method, and still if you try to build the application, you will see there are no compilation errors and build is succeeded. You can see the message here, no issues found. To implement both the methods from the iEmployee and iPerson interfaces, we have to use explicit implementation. Let's see how we can achieve it. So let me remove this piece of code from here for now. Now I will get the error message saying we are not implementing the interface. So let's try to implement using the explicit implementation. I will right click on it, and this time I will select implement all members explicitly. So this will inject the method for me, and let me implement the iPerson also. Okay, if you notice, now we have two methods and both are implemented explicitly. Now we are implementing both the methods from interfaces. This one is from iEmployee interface and this one is from iPerson interface. And if you notice the syntax here, we are using the interface name dot method name and then the parameters. Same way we are using it here. So I have provided the implementation and I am just printing a simple console line using the console.writeLine method. So let's go ahead and invoke these methods in our main method. So let's first create an object of employee class employee e equal to new employee. And if I try to invoke the methods e dot print name, I will pass the name as Peter. You will notice we are getting the compilation error. That is because we have created an employee type reference and we are trying to invoke the print name method on that. But actually in employee class, we don't have any print name method that belongs to employee class. We have the print name method which are from iEmployee interface and iPerson interface. So if I have to invoke these two methods, I have to create the object using the iEmployee or iPerson reference. So let me create first with the iEmployee reference, and again I can store an object of employee class in an iEmployee type reference because of polymorphism. Now if I try to invoke my method print name, you will see we are not getting any compilation error. Let's create an object for our iPerson interface also. And I can invoke e2.printName. And I have to pass some name here, pass mark here. And if we run the program, we can see we are able to invoke both the methods name from iEmployee and name from iPerson interface. So guys, this is how you can achieve the explicit implementation of interface. In case you are having two interfaces and the method present in the interfaces having the same signature and the same return type. This is one way of invoking the print name method. Let me show you a second method. In that we can use the typecasting and invoke it. Okay, I have commented out the above code. Let's create an object of employee class. And now let's typecast this employee name to iEmployee interface. So I will use the employee reference and provide iEmployee here to typecast it. And once it is typecasted, then I can invoke print name method and I can pass some name. Dummy name 1. Similarly, I can typecast it to iPerson interface and I can pass the name as dummy name 2. And if I run the program, you will notice we are successfully able to invoke the methods from interface iEmployee and iPerson. Let's go back to slides. So this is one of the most important interview question that you might be asked for the interfaces. Let's read out the question. A class inherits from two interfaces and both the interfaces have same method name. How should the class implement the methods for both the interfaces? This is the same example that we have seen in this demo where we have seen the two interfaces iEmployee and iPerson, and both of these interfaces were having the same method, that is print name, and we have to use the explicit implementation of interface to invoke the methods or to implement the methods from both the interface. Please note, when a class explicitly implements an interface, the interface member can no longer be accessed via class reference variable, but only via the interface reference variable. Let me show you again. So when we are creating the employee object using the employee reference, we cannot invoke the print name method directly. You will notice we are not getting the option of print name method here. But if I create the object using the reference of I employee or I person, I will be able to invoke it. Let me uncomment this code. If I create the object and store the object reference in an I employee type reference, then I can easily invoke print name method. That's what this point says. The interface member can no longer be accessed via the class reference variable, but only via the interface reference variable. And one more thing, access modifiers are not allowed on explicitly implemented interface members. Let's understand this in Visual Studio. Okay, so I have implemented the interfaces here, and if you notice, I have not given any access modifiers, meaning I have not provided public, private, or protected keyword here. Let me try to put an access modifier. Let me say public. You will notice we are getting the error message here. Let's read the error message. It says the public modifier is not valid for this item. So guys, we cannot provide access modifiers when we are implementing the interfaces explicitly. That's it for this video guys. In the next video, we will learn about abstract classes.